Look at this sliver of water. It's the Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Through here flows 1/5 of the entire world's oil supply. For 50 years, the unspoken threat has been, if this closes, the global economy grinds to a halt. But what if I told you that threat is becoming a bluff? And by 2026, the power to hold the world hostage here might just disappear. This is the story you think you know. The Persian Gulf, home to the world's biggest oil and gas producers, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Iran. To get their product to you, to us, it has to pass through this single choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. On one side, Iran, on the other, the UAE and Oman. Its geography as destiny. For decades, Iran has used this geographic advantage as its ultimate trump card. Whenever tensions rise with the West, you hear the same threats. They'll mine the strait. They'll use their fleet of small, fast attack boats. They'll shut it all down. And to counter that threat, the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet has one primary mission: keep Hormuz open at all costs. We see the headlines, the tense standoffs, the seized tankers. It feels like a permanent state of crisis, a powder keg that could blow at any moment. This is the surface story, a story of warships and missiles. But the real story, the one that's changing everything, isn't happening on the water. It's happening underground. While we were all watching the ships, Iran's biggest rivals, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, started digging. They've been pouring billions into a simple, audacious idea. What if we just go around? This isn't a new idea, but the scale and speed are unprecedented. Meet the East-West Pipeline, a 750-mile metal artery that cuts straight across Saudi Arabia, from its oil fields in the Gulf to ports on the Red Sea. Its capacity is being upgraded to a massive 7 million barrels per day. Then there's the UAE's Abu Dhabi crude oil pipeline, or ADCOP. It runs from Abu Dhabi's fields to the port of Fujairah, completely bypassing Hormuz. Combined, these pipelines are on track to give Saudi Arabia and the UAE the ability to export the majority of their oil without ever touching the Strait of Hormuz. The target for this massive strategic shift to be fully operational? Around 2025 to 2026. This isn't just an infrastructure project, it's a geopolitical kill switch. It's a direct response to Iran's primary source of leverage. For 50 years, the logic was, you need us to let your oil out. By 2026, the answer will be, no we don't. The gun Iran has held to the world's head is about to be filled with blanks. So, Iran's biggest threat is neutralized. Who cares? Well, the United States has cared a lot. For decades, America's justification for its massive military presence in the Middle East was to protect the free flow of oil, a global public good. But two things have changed. One, the U.S. is now the world's largest oil producer. It's not energy independent, but it's far less vulnerable to a Hormuz shock. And two, its main allies in the region, the ones it was protecting, have now built their own escape hatch. So the question for Washington becomes, why are we still spending billions to police a strait that is becoming less critical to our allies and our own economy? This creates a power vacuum, and vacuums are always filled. Enter China. Unlike the US, China is more dependent on Middle Eastern oil than ever before. For Beijing, these new pipelines aren't a threat, they're a godsend.
They offer a more secure, reliable route for the energy China desperately needs, a route that is less vulnerable to the whims of the U.S. Navy. China has been quietly embedding itself as the region's primary economic partner, signing massive infrastructure and energy deals. The old security architecture, underwritten by the U.S., is crumbling. The new one is being built with Chinese money and secured by pipelines, not aircraft carriers.
Okay, so a bunch of pipelines are changing geopolitics in a place thousands of miles away. Why does it matter to you, to your life, to the price you pay for gas? Because this fundamentally rewires how the global oil market works. For years, a crisis in Hormuz meant a price spike for everyone. But in a post-2026 world, that might not be true. We could see the emergence of a two-tiered oil market. Tier 1, secure, pipeline-fed oil from Saudi and the UAE, flowing reliably from the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman. Its price might be stable, even insulated from Gulf politics. Tier 2, Hormuz risk oil from Qatar, Kuwait, and Iran itself. This oil is still reliant on the strait and would be subject to massive price swings and insurance premiums during a crisis. Your gas price could become a reflection of which tier of oil your country's refineries are buying from. But the bigger implication is a change in the nature of conflict. With the economic, mutually assured destruction of closing Hormuz gone, what stops a regional conflict between, say, Iran and Saudi Arabia from escalating? The very thing that caused decades of tension, the Chokepoint, was also a strange force for stability. Without it, the guardrails are off. The world in 2026 isn't necessarily safer. It's just a world with a new set of rules, where power flows not just through a strait, but through thousands of miles of steel pipe buried in the sand. So, the story of the Strait of Hormuz is no longer just about geography and warships. It's a story about a race to build an escape route and what happens to the world when the prisoners get out. The power structures that have defined the global energy market for half a century are being redrawn, not by a war, but by welders and engineers in the desert. The decline of Hormuz's power is a perfect example of how the world really works. Power is never static. It's always in motion. We follow that motion. So if you want to understand the hidden forces shaping your world, subscribe to Decoded World and hit the bell. Next time, we're investigating how a handful of companies in the Congo control the one mineral your smartphone can't live without. You won't want to miss it.